Oh, it's time for ANF Plus Sports Tonight. Scott Pennyman, our producer, is with us tonight. Scotty, we got lots of great topics, and one right off the bat.
Yes, sir.
The Falcons named Desmond Ridder earlier this week as the starter, no matter what. So he's going to enter the camp, going to go to training camp as the starting quarterback for the Atlanta Falcons. And I'll just say this. The last time that I recall, anyway, the Falcons had a third-round pick as their starting quarterback. They didn't draft him, but they acquired him in a trade, Chris Chandler, and he took the the Super Bowl. So
that's a blast from the past right there, man.
That's
Chris
like
Chandler.
20-some years ago, yeah. Well, it was the 1998 season, so that was 25 years ago coming up. Yeah, that Super Bowl team that defied the odds, went up to Minnesota, beat the Vikings.
I remember that, man.
Chris Chandler was the guy that led them there, man.
I remember that. As a
Terrence Mathis, Tony Martin.
And they had those guys. They had Jamal Anderson in the backfield.
Jamal Anderson, right.
Jesse Tuggle and those guys on the
team.
Hammer. I remember those teams. Ray Buchanan,
man.
The defensive back.
Ray Buchanan, that's right, man.
Look, I guess we kind of saw this with Desmond Ridder, right? I mean, we kind of saw that this is the direction they were headed. When he was drafted, I think Coach Smith said when they drafted him last year in the third round, the expectation would be that
he would be the guy.
That he'd be the starter.
Eventually.
I guess Coach thought that he would even, I guess the door was open for him to even take the job last year and win a starting job. So it happened later in the season. I thought, honestly, I don't even think he needed to even win the job. It seems like Marcus Mariota lost it,
Right, exactly. He did.
And last 4 games of the season, he took over. I thought Desmond Ridder played okay in the last 4 games of the season, right? I mean,
but you know what? I think that's good, though, Scotty. I think that's good because you get those last 4 games. The season was already, spiraling. I don't think they had a shot at the playoffs, did they? Late in the season,
it was,
kind of an outside shot.
It was a bad division,
but it was a good chance for Desmond Ridder to get some game experience, some face live ammunition, so to speak, and go after it and face live defenses and get a look at what he's going to see this year because, why not? And that's what they did. And I thought that was a great move by Arthur Smith, actually, to do that.
It was. Look, I mean, I guess I'm not going to say that they threw away last season, but I think that they knew they weren't winning the Super Bowl going into the season, right? I think they knew they weren't a Super Bowl team. So I think development was number one. I think they wanted to see what they had in Desmond Ridder at quarterback just to see how
get him some game experience,
you need to see if he could be your guy, right? Head into the offseason, like we see, there's some quarterbacks that may be on the move. So I think you needed to know, you need to see in those 4 games or so, 4 or 5. I wish he would have got more. I wish that he would have took over about halfway through the season.
Yeah.
I think the season was I think you kind of knew what you had in Marcus Mariota after the first 8 or 9 games. I mean, he's been in the league for a while now. He's kind of been the same player.
Yeah,
Right. So I think we kind of knew.
I think Dennis Green said it best, right, about when he is who he thought he was.
Yeah, I mean, Marcus Mariota.
They are who they thought they were.
He's a guy. He's a borderline. Marcus Mariota is kind of a fringe backup.
Journeyman.
Can start when necessary. He'll play quarterback for you. He won't play stupid, but he's not going to do anything amazing to help you win either. So I would have liked to seen Desmond Ridder play about week 7, week 8, kind of midway through the season, maybe while you could still salvage things a little bit. But he took over when he took over. I thought he was okay. I mean, there wasn't anything to where, I didn't watch Desmond Ridder and go, man, he's definitely the future of this organization. I think with him, even next year, it's going to be a sort of a game-by-game sort of thing.
Right. I mean, it's going to be tough for him. But, you got to do it. You have to do it. You got to get him ready. That's why they drafted him, right?
Sure.
I mean, if you draft a quarterback, you got to play him. I mean, that's pretty much the unwritten rule in the NFL. So, I mean, even though he's a third rounder, I mean, that's pretty high. I mean, that's not a low round. I mean, I
think when you draft a quarterback in the third round, I think the expectation is that he'll get on the field at some point,
right?
And be your starter within the next couple of years. I think that's
let him go. Let's go. Let it rip. Let's find out what you got. Let's. But we're going to talk about this. Calais Campbell going to the defense.
Oh, that's later.
Because they're going to need some defense. There's no doubt about that. I know we're going to bring that up later on.
Talk about that one.
What's on your mind? All right. So
For sure.
Here's one. We expected this. I think Coach Amir going to go to South Florida.
Yeah.
Ironically, he replaces Brian Gregory, the former Georgia Tech coach, who did not do so well in his 5 seasons. BG, a good guy, but did not win at South Florida, so he'll be replaced by Amir Abdul-Rahim. He'll have all the resources down there. I mean, that's an up-and-coming program, and I think, he'll be able to do well down there, I think. And I think Kennesaw State, by getting the exposure they did, will be able to draw a pretty good name to replace Amir.
Yeah, I mean, there'll be some things for Kennesaw State to be able to, they'll. I think he has that program at a pretty solid spot now. Coach Abdul-Rahim does, to where I think that's an attractive job. They just came off of making the NCAA tournament and everything. But as for Coach Abdul-Rahim, look, I mean, I thought that I knew that we know how it works at schools like Kennesaw State, right? I
right.
mean, at schools like that.
Mid-majors, right?
Right. They're mid-major. They're kind of a stepping stone. They're sort of a stepping stone to a bigger job. So I think we knew that Coach Abdur-Rahim wasn't going to be at Kennesaw State very long. Once he got that program together the way he did, he kind of built it, I mean, literally from the ground up. I know we say that a lot of times as a figure of speech that someone built a program from the ground up, but he really did because they were on the ground. They only won one game.
One game his first year, right?
They come around. So they were damn near on the ground. So he was able to get that program up to being the NCAA tournament team. They were very competitive in their tournament game against Xavier. Probably a lot of people watch that game probably think they should have won that game.
It's a 5-point game. You know what? Here's the thing. That exposure will pay huge dividends, I think, for the Kennesaw State school.
For sure.
For the campus, for the basketball program, for the entire athletic program. I mean, that'll expose them. That exposure actually will get them more than they probably even think.
Yeah, and just knowing Coach Abdur-Rahim, I mean, you could just see the way he was as a coach, just being around him, being around that program. You can tell that the kids really enjoyed him a lot. They really loved the fact he was really a great leader of men. So I just kind of knew when a coach is like that, other people would take notice. You knew he wasn't going to be at that school much longer. I thought Georgia Tech may take a look at him. I thought that, I know Cal, too, where his brother played. I know he was, that was another school that had interest in him. I think they hired Mark Madsen, the former NBA player. So, I knew Coach Abdur-Rahim would get a bigger job probably this offseason. So, I mean, look, they should be grateful for the time he was at Kennesaw State.
Exactly.
He built that program. He showed that he could build a program from the ground up. So I think South Florida is really getting a quality coach.
They are, and a quality guy, too.
Yeah, quality man.
No doubt.
Such a good human being.
Really, a good dude.
Yep.
No doubt.
Yep.
Basketball Hall of Fame had some big names. What do you think? Let's go one by one. Dwayne Wade. Quickly, your thoughts on that?
That was a no-brainer. I mean, Dwayne Wade is probably in my lifetime the third best shooting guard behind Michael Jordan and Kobe Bryant. I mean, so I think Dwayne Wade, that's a no-brainer. One of the great players of his generation. Carried the 2006 Miami Heat to the NBA championship in only his third season. No question. He's one of the top 5 or 6 players of his generation.
Dirk Nowitzki. That's a guy. I mean, I like Dirk Nowitzki. I mean, there's a guy. A guy came over from Europe and played. Played the forward spot at a very. He's 7 foot tall. It's almost 7 feet tall. So, I mean, that's a guy that really. I think he deserves to be in.
Yeah, I mean, just look at Dirk Nowitzki. Look at his career, right? NBA champion. Sort of, I mean, that was one of the great upsets in the NBA
took the Mavs to the NBA championship.
Right.
That's right.
Took them to the finals twice. Once in 2006, where they let it slip to the Miami Heat. Then in 2011, against that loaded, sort of super team that the Miami Heat had with LeBron James, D Wade, and Chris Bosh, and led them to an NBA championship. Beat them in 6 games. I mean, so if he wasn't already a Hall of Famer before that NBA championship.
That solidified it. How that got him in?
That certified everything.
All right, here we go. Next guy we got is Pau Gasol. Did you know that Pau Gasol should have been an Atlanta Hawk? Did you know that?
I didn't. How was Pau?
Pete Babcock loved the guy. He was the general manager of the Hawks.
Really?
He loved Pau Gasol and wanted to draft him, and things just did not work out. But, I mean, he went on to have a great career in the NBA, obviously, with the Grizzlies first and then on with the Lakers. So, a great career for Pau Gasol. And really one of the great players on the planet, a lot of international flavor there.
Yeah, when you look at Pau Gasol's career, I mean, he was really good with the Memphis Grizzlies. He was really good, all-star player with the Memphis Grizzlies. Then, really, I think he became a Hall of Famer when he went to the Lakers. When he went to the Lakers and joined Kobe Bryant, won a couple world championships with him, kind of as that second-best player for a championship team.
Yeah.
I think that's when Pau Gasol really became a Hall of Fame player. And when you look at it, just kind of skill-wise, probably one of the better power forwards of his.
Oh, man. No doubt.
Yeah, if you kind of broke out a short list of the great power forwards of the last 20, 30 years or so, I think Pau's on that list.
No doubt.
I mean, so he's a top-of-the-line talent, one of the great players of his generation. Look, Pau Gasol wasn't a 1A guy. He wasn't a guy who was going to be the best player for a championship team.
He wasn't Batman. He was Robin.
Exactly, but he's one of the great Robins probably of his generation for sure.
Tony Parker.
Tony Parker, man. I mean,
San Antonio Spurs guard, great player.
Yeah.
Right?
I mean, just think about that Spurs dynasty, right? I mean, just think about, all those years and, they won five championships. I think Tony Parker was a part of 4 of those teams.
Right, he helped run the show,
running
it up, the guards. So.
Yeah, I think, and with Tony Parker, to me, he was one of the more underrated point guards of his generation. I mean, people will look at guys like, Chris Paul and guys like that, Steve Nash and some of those, MVP caliber, MVP elite sort of caliber point guards. But how many of those guys accomplished everything that Tony Parker did? I mean, Tony Parker got 4 world championships.
Yeah.
He's the second or third. Man, yeah. Right, he got the rings. He was like the second or third best player on several NBA championship teams and won a Finals MVP. But no one ever talks about Tony Parker as being one of the top 2 or 3 point guards of his generation.
I know. That's too bad.
I think it's kind of crazy.
I think it's kind of crazy too. I mean, like you said, the guy wins.
Yeah.
You know, opening day tomorrow. Can you believe it already? The Braves open against the Nats tomorrow. Max Fried is going to be on the mound as he gets the start again. The Braves left-hander. So it's interesting. The Braves go for their 6th straight division title. They went 14 uninterrupted, and then now going for 6. So the streak is kind of back going again with Brian Snitker as the manager. A couple of years removed now from that World Championship, but still a team that's in the playoffs, in the thick of it every year. And you know, the new ballpark, everything out there, it's been a lot of fun for fans, a lot of fun really for everybody. So looking forward to opening day.
Yeah, this is kind of, it seemed like baseball season just ended. I mean, here we are. It's opening day already. It's so many games, like 10,000 games, you know, throughout the course of a season. So, yeah, I mean, baseball season came around kind of fast. Obviously, last year it didn't end the way I'm sure the Braves fans thought it was going to end. I mean, for the kind of talent they had on that team. I mean, once you have that kind of talent on your roster, it's championship or bust. Let's be real.
Exactly,
you know?
No doubt.
So yeah, I mean, I think they're looking at the same thing this year. It's championship or bust. If the season doesn't end with them holding that World Series championship trophy, it's considered a failure. Look, that's just part of being an Atlanta Brave, right?
Ooh, it's a shot right there, huh?
No, that's good, right?
As part of being an Atlanta Brave, you don't hold the championship trophy?
No.
You're saying, if you don't.
Right, if you don't end the season with the championship trophy.
I thought that was like a little shot.
No. I'm saying if you're.
It's not what the Braves want.
Right.
The Braves are used to winning, right?
The standard as an Atlanta Brave is a world championship.
Sure, no doubt.
Just because over the last, 30 years, that's what they've built, you know? So I think they're kind of like, the Atlanta Braves are kind of like what the Pittsburgh Steelers are in football. They're kind of like what basketball. I mean, just organizations that are expected to win because that's what they do.
They do, yeah.
So any season that doesn't end with a championship is seen as a disappointment. So I guess that's how you can kind of be a victim of your own success, right?
Right, yeah. Oh, no doubt.
Yeah.
All right, our last topic, it's going to be a shorter show tonight, but our last topic is what's on your mind.
What's on your mind? You know, you kind of brought it up earlier, right? Falcons signed Calais Campbell today, right? I mean, I know they needed defensive line help, but I didn't know that they would really go for, a guy who was about 3 years away from collecting a Social Security check. I mean,
you didn't like that, man? Huh?
Well, no, it's cool. I think Calais Campbell's a great player. Look,
he's
I'm
old,
a fan
though.
of University of Miami.
He's pushing 40.
But he's got to be, I think if you want to improve your defensive line, you probably want to go out there and sign guys that don't remember D-Day. You know what I'm saying? I mean, that's
remember D-Day. He's going back to the 40s now. Yikes.
Calais Campbell.
Playing with a leather helmet?
Exactly.
No face mask?
I think you started your television career around the same time Calais Campbell started his NFL career, right?
That's right. Yeah, I remember him with the Cardinals, right?
Exactly. I mean, I think Calais Campbell was around when they were doing the Grits Blitz, right? With the Atlanta Falcons back in 1977.
Wow.
No,
Claude Humphrey.
Look, I'm joking around.
Yeah, man.
I think Calais Campbell is a really good defense lineman. He's a really good player. Maybe has a Hall of Fame resume.
Could be.
But I don't know how much he's got left in the tank, right?
Well, here's the thing. Dude's what, 6'8", 300?
Well, he's a big man.
6'8", 300, so he might, if nothing else, he might be able to clog it up and let some other guys make some plays. You don't know.
I mean, look.
Hey, a guy like that is a linebacker's best friend. I'm going to tell you that right now. A guy like that is a linebacker's best friend because he's going to eat up 2 or 3 blockers, and then the linebacker's going to make the tackle and look great.
Look, I think Calais Campbell could do that 10 years ago, maybe even 5 years ago, But, look, I guess for what the Falcons need right now, I mean, he's probably a situational player at this point.
Oh, yeah, he's not going to be every down. There's no way.
Right.
He'd be gassed after the first quarter. There's no way.
I can't imagine he's going to be out there on a regular basis with 36, 37 years old. You don't see too many NFL players who are 36, 37 years old.
Right.
But you certainly don't see too many defensive linemen 36,
close to 40 years old.
Yeah, close to 40 years old. So,
I mean, the guy's played how many years now? He's played a lot of years.
I don't know, man. I think he was.
I want to say 16.
I think he was at the University of Miami with Bernie Kosar and Vinny Testaverde.
He was Bernie Kosar, then Vinny. Yeah, that's right. When they had the fatigues on at the Fiesta Bowl.
But no, I'm pretty sure the Falcons are going to do a lot of things to help improve the defensive line that aren't. I'm pretty sure they'll get some guys who are probably half his age that they're probably going to draft to help improve that defensive line too. But let's face it, they need it doesn't matter who it is. Probably me and you would be an upgrade from what they had on that defensive line last year. I mean, they only had like 17 sacks the entire season. That's kind of crazy.
That is crazy. I mean, you think about that, and you think about how many Calais had over the last 2 years. I mean, 2021, not last year, but 2021 was really a good season for him. He would have led the Falcons in sacks. What do you have? 5.5 sacks, right? Just 2 years ago.
How pitiful is that? If 5.5 sacks will lead you in sacks, like that's kind of crazy. I mean, I think they.
Well, that's a lot. I mean, that's not a small number, is it? I mean, that's.
5.5. I mean, that's pretty pedestrian. I mean, it's okay. It's average. I mean, it's probably, I don't know, the average NFL starting defensive lineman probably has between 4 and 6 sacks. I mean, it's probably around there. So yeah, I mean, look, he will certainly be an upgrade from what they had on the roster because they haven't had a guy that can get to the quarterback in a long time consistently. Right. So I think like Grady Jarrett, but he can't do it all by himself. I mean, Grady's up there. He's by far the best player.
Got to have him in there. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, he's by far their best defensive lineman.
No doubt.
So if you can get another guy up there to help take the pressure off of him, then I mean, I think it can be
without a doubt.
It can be a quality signing. I know, all joking aside, I know I'm joking around about his age and everything. I said he was a couple years away from collecting a Social Security check, but in all honesty, look, if he can come in and just provide be a good situational player for the team,
play 1 or 2 downs,
okay.
1 or 2 downs a series, right?
But they're going to have to go out and get some more guys, right?
Oh yeah, they're going to have help around there, no doubt.
And they're going to need some of those guys who they drafted last year to step up too, like their Arnold Edekabi, the guy from Penn State. He was kind of quiet a lot of year last year. They're going to need him. They're going to need some of those guys who they already have on the roster to be able to groom and get better, getting to the quarterback, because that's kind of ridiculous to only have 16 or 17 sacks for an entire NFL season.
Right.
You have some players. I think that was the number.
That's one a game, right?
Right.
Yeah.
I mean, look,
that's 1 a game. You got to have more than that.
You have guys like T.J. Watt and Myles Garrett who got that pretty much by their damn selves.
Right. Yeah,
that's kind of crazy.
They did. Yeah. Think about that.
Right.
So that's really about it, man. So
that's funny you said that. That's really about it.
Fred, yeah, because that's about it for me, right?
Fred, this could be your last.
This could be my last ANF Sports Plus, ANF Plus Sports Tonight. What was the name of this show?
Like you said, man, it's Sports Tonight,
Sports Tonight, baby. That's what it's called, Sports Tonight.
So you started doing this, what, 1979?
1979, that's right.
That's a long career, man.
After spring football and consulting with Coach Corso, I was like, yeah, man, you should do some TV. So I auditioned for the job, got the job, and hosted the TV show in 1979. So I haven't looked back. How long is that, 44?
In most cases, that wouldn't be a great sign if you went to go tell Coach about a job and he goes, there's a TV job open up, take it. In most cases, that wouldn't be a good sign because
it was what I was. I was a walk-on, So
right,
come on.
But in your case,
I wasn't a scholarship player. I wasn't. I made the travel squad the year before, and Coach told me that's as good as it's going to get. So.
That was probably the best advice that any human being could ever give you, because
it all worked out.
Because it led to a Hall of Fame career
44
for you, right?
years, man. Yeah. I mean, it's hard to believe, but yeah, we'll be loading up the bus here and heading out, and then I'll be back Monday for the Final Four to say one shining moment.
That's probably going to be the most sentimental one shining moment that you ever heard, right?
Without a doubt, yeah. It'll be the last one, right? Well, it won't be the last one I've heard, but last one on when I'm on the set. Going, hey, to Jim Nantz, wrap it up, will you, dude? Let's go. We got to get on the air. We don't want to go on at 11:30 every night, right? Come on, Jimmy, go.
Well, that's the great part, right? You have to. So, what's going to be cool? What are your plans for retirement?
You know what? Just kind of hanging out. It's going to take take a month off or a couple of weeks off and just figure out what's going on. I haven't had that much time off in a long time.
That's crazy.
A long time. Yeah, I never had more than a week at a time off.
That's pretty dope, man. Hey, look, let me tell you, it's been pretty cool doing the show with.
Well, thanks, man.
It's been pretty cool doing the show with you, a legend. I tell you, man, you can't go anywhere around Atlanta without somebody telling them that you work with Fred Khalil, man. I'm telling you, everywhere you go, man, it's like, you work with Fred Khalil. Oh, you know Fred? Because I don't, I just moved around the area. I knew who you were, but just coming to the Atlanta area, you really have to get an idea of how big Fred Khalil is around the Atlanta area. It's kind of crazy, You go any place else, be like, yeah, I work with Fred Khalil. You work with Fred Khalil?
Oh, here we go. Yeah.
Seriously, I'm telling you, man, that really happened. I'm telling you, it happened a couple times. So it's been pretty dope. I love, it's really been fun. It's been
fun. Well, thanks, man. I've had a great time hanging out with you, Scotty, and
for sure.
Appreciate all your help. And like I said, we're not done. We got one more show on One Shining Moment, the night of this national championship game on Monday. So
how many producers have you had over your entire career, man? It's got to be a lot.
Oh, no, because you got it early on. I never had a producer.
Oh, well.
It's just me.
Yeah, well.
So, I mean, I don't think I had a producer until, I guess I had in Phoenix Freddie, my guy Freddie.
I just wonder, just that many years of 40-something. Oh, man, that's look.
Probably,
I mean,
yeah. I would
most
say.
people could even dream about having a career that long nowadays to be able to do one thing that they love
lucky,
for that many years. That's a lot of luck, man.
Lucky guy.
Takes a lot of skill to be able to stick around, for sure.
Well, no, I've been very fortunate, no doubt about it.
Yeah.
So, looking forward to what's next.
Good.
Hopefully,
good.
it'll be a long time too.
For sure.
All right, man. Thanks, Scotty.
Yep.